Welcome to Igniting Change, Finding Your Fire, a podcast covering all topics health, healing, and spirituality. I'm your host, Meena Puri. Thank you for joining me. Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. So in this podcast episode, I'm going to talk about emotional health, as seems to be the topic of my conversation for a while. And in particular, I'm going to talk about emotional inventory. You must be wondering what that is and why in the world would we want to do that. So let's begin. So many of my clients, I tell them to write down, to journal, because it really helps them to reveal what's going on inside so they can see it in front of them. And awareness is key. So I became more specific with certain clients who were just so out of touch with their feeling sense, with their emotions. So what do I mean by feeling sense? We experience life through the senses, right? There's the seeing, the hearing, the touch, smell, the feel. Sometimes a feel sense, we think it's how does it feel to the touch that's in the touch. But I want to particularly talk about the emotional feeling sense. So we become desensitized. So in particular, I want to talk about the desensitizing of our emotional feeling sense and how that harms us moving forward. So, what is this emotional inventory or journaling at the end of the day? So, during the course of our day, we experience a myriad of emotional experiences and reactions. So, here are some examples. You're at work, your colleague makes a comment like, oh, or something about your clothing, either good or bad. So in particular, it's the negative comments that hurt us. So let's talk about that. Saying, oh, I have the same exact shirt like yours, or I don't really like that color. They're talking about them, but you sense something like you don't like your shirt. But you do nothing about it. You just ignore it. You go on with your day because we cannot pause and ponder and take care of our emotions right in the moment, especially when we are at work or even in many life situations. It actually afterwards, when we go backward, we begin to think about it, and then we become better at navigating our emotional world. So you just get on with life as usual. An email comes that just sparks a negative reaction, or you feel pressured, or you get confused as to, oh, they're asking me for this. I'm confused about this. I don't know how to answer back. I don't want to do it. I don't know how to get this person off my back, things like that. So you just ignore it. So you felt pressured or overwhelmed or just confused. You are driving and somebody just flips you off, or somebody just like really getting close to you, and then when you don't move, they flip you off. So there's, you experience fear, like I've done something wrong. That actually can cause accidents on the road rage. But you don't know what to do, so you do nothing because you don't know what to do. You forget about it, you get on with your day. You may see something on social media that creates a feeling. You may hear like a little clip of the news that creates something, that creates a feeling. The truth is, our feelings are continuously being activated through our living because this is how we navigate our world. But a lot of these little things, they go by unnoticed by the psyche. However, the experience is already registered in your tissues, on your nervous system. So when we say, oh, don't feel that way, it's a little bit too late because it's already happened. It doesn't matter if you want to acknowledge it or not, but the experience has already happened. So when we write it down, just gently scanning our day for emotional experiences, like I felt this, or I felt that, or this made me feel like this. You begin to name the emotion. If you do that for a number of days, you're going to see a pattern emerge. Like a pattern of that I get really fearful, or I always blame myself, that it's my fault. Oh, I should have done something different, or nobody thinks that I'm good enough to do the work that I'm doing, or they don't like me. So these kind of negative feelings can settle in, and when you write it down, you see a pattern emerge. So you say, so what? So what am I going to do about it? What's the reason for it? So I want to give you an example. So in our adult life, what creates our habits, and we call them in Ayurveda samskaras, or the behavioral patterns. Why do we continue to repeat the same old thing? So when we go backwards, we remember that look from the teacher. We remember that comment from our mother who said, are you going to eat the whole thing? Are you going to wear that? Or we remember walking into a classroom and a friend, you're 10 years old, making fun of you because you had pigtails or something. So here you are, 50, 60 years old, and these experiences, emotional experiences, got embedded in your psyche without knowing. So this is where everything goes when we have not worked with any emotional experiences, digested them. They go in our subconscious garbage bin. We don't know, but our 90% of our life is run by the subconscious patterns that are coming in the subconscious garbage bin. I call it the garbage bin because it needs to be emptied. But we don't empty it because we don't know to empty it. So these little, the seemingly small emotional experiences, it shapes our adult behavior, patterns, and habits. What we do to cope with the negative emotional experiences, we become desensitized. We block off. And also, we have heard many times, or you are too sensitive. Right? So when we tell somebody you're too sensitive, maybe the other person isn't sensitive enough. So it's all relative. Nobody is too sensitive. We are sensual beings. We live by sensing things. So it's never can be too sensitive. What we are always talking about when we say too sensitive is our reactivity to what we sense. The reactivity comes from not resolving all the prior experiences, not taking a stand for yourself, not being able to find your voice, not being able to clearly communicate to yourself what you feel, why, because we don't resolve any of these things. So there's no such thing as too sensitive. Frankly, it's not enough sensitivity. What we notice in the world is not enough sensitivity, but a lot of reactory behavior. We react to our senses. That's not coming from being too sensitive. That's coming from being triggered because there is a filter. It's an accumulated response. There's a filter from the past that we have not cleaned up. We have not changed the filter. Okay? So the point of writing down at the end of the day what experiences you had, like somebody said something to you. Your sister spoke to you in a loud voice. You felt not good, but everybody's there. You don't want to cause a fuss. You go on, but you may go cry in the car and beat yourself up for it because you don't understand why you cried, because you felt hurt or you felt scared, because there's a whole pack of experiences like that where somebody spoke to you harshly, where somebody spoke loudly to you, where you always were the one that were picked at. That's the reaction that you get. And if we still don't understand why this is not right, why we have to speak up, then we are going to continue to experience these things, and we are going to continue to kind of, dance between trying not to feel what you actually feel, and then getting really reactory, getting really all emotional. Emotional reaction is getting all emotional, not being able to be clear about what it is that you feel, and most importantly, not being able to communicate and take a stand for yourself. So, like I said, so these experiences, whether we acknowledge them or not, they already happened in our body. So imagine you're 50 years old and this is how you have lived. Imagine how full that garbage, the subconscious garbage bin is. Now imagine all the triggering that might happen in your current life, either triggering or you completely disconnect. You just become desensitized because it becomes too overwhelming. You talk yourself out of it. You just tell yourself that you're too sensitive. They didn't mean it this way. You doubt your own experiences. So imagine doubting your own experiences. When we doubt our own experiences, how the heck are we going to navigate our life in the world? We cannot. We doubt. We continuously doubt. We don't trust. We become insecure. So do you see how it gets all tangled up? It seems like a small thing, but it's actually a big thing. So if at the end of the day you kind of write down, scan your emotional body, what did you feel? What did you feel? It is for you. So you begin to see a pattern emerge. If the pattern is, I always experience betrayal. I always experience fear. I always experience that I'm not good enough. Then that's where the work needs to be to heal. So now at least you know. Starting to acknowledge what you experience, even for the smallest thing. When it comes to healing, nothing is too big or too small for your soul. You cannot push anything under the rug because it'll come back to you. It'll begin to come to the surface for reckoning, really, because the desire is to take a stand for oneself. Because the knowing is that I am perfect. It's a deep knowing, even we become disconnected from it. So any experience that is less than that, it doesn't sit well with us. We want to take a stand for ourselves, but the societal conditioning, the intellectual conversation we have within ourselves, we shut ourselves down, we become thick-skinned. So the thing thick-skinned is actually, we just put layers and layers over our emotional body. We don't want to feel anything because we don't know what to do with it. We don't want to be judged. We don't want to cause chaos. And we manage to live somehow. This actually is why when we are older, 50, 60 years old, it becomes accumulated. And now those energetic patterns, they are deeply embedded in the nervous system, in your tissues. They begin to show up, manifest as a disease, as symptoms. So just simply taking a scan of how your day was emotionally during the day, it will serve you well. So you become aware of what it is that's showing up for you repeatedly. And the chances are it's the same pattern that continues to repeat because it's energy, right? Energy continues to circulate. Others get a hold of that. They connect with that. So there's a energetic link, a connection between the other person who's giving you the experience and you are experiencing. Here at work, when you're driving, when you come home with your spouse or with your family or with your friends, it's the same pattern that keeps on repeating. It gets tangled up, it gets messy, just like when we don't, we like water in a swamp. If we don't let it flow, it stinks. Same thing happens with emotions. If we don't allow the emotions to flow, they begin to stink. So by flowing, I don't mean just expressing them to wherever. It really is about you. It's about you becoming aware of what it is that I feel. What do I do with it? Why it keeps showing up? is for you to get a deeper understanding of yourself. When you have that clear, deeper understanding, you can take a stand in a very responsive, emotionally responsive, in a very assertive way. Instead of getting emotional and saying, you said this to me, why did you do that? How dare you? It's simply about, I didn't appreciate that comment. It really made me feel bad. There's a difference. But we can't get there until we know what it is that we experience. So this is the way to keep in touch with your emotions. And, I wouldn't buy into too emotional, not emotional enough. That's all relative. Somebody who's if I am not sensitive enough, then the other person is going to it's going to look too sensitive, right? Maybe I should become more sensitive. I personally feel we are alive, dynamic, sensual beings. We never shut down our senses, all of the senses. When we shut down one sense, it's energy, right? We block so much from our life. We block the flow of energy. I have clients who have totally left their emotional body. They just desensitize. They just, they keep on gathering more tissue. They become overweight. They keep hiding somewhere in there. They keep hiding their emotions. They keep hiding how they feel. So now they come to a place where they are totally disconnected. They don't feel a connection with themselves. They don't feel connected in the body. They feel lost. So something that is small can totally lead you into a lot of pain and suffering. So start tuning into your emotions. There's information and wisdom there for you, and you can never be too sensitive. It's about waking up and becoming sensitive, for God's sakes. It's about having a reaction. It's about feeling things. It's about, we're awake, we're alive. We don't want to be living like we are dead. So we want to be sensitive. We want to sense things. We want to feel things. We want to feel deeply. That's what gives us a connection to who we truly are. When we are aware of our feeling, sense, our emotions, then we can get a deeper peek into why, where, how, and how do I use these emotions intelligently to navigate my life, to evolve, to grow. Okay, so that was I hope that this conversation made sense to you. If you like this type of material, please hit the like the comment, like the video. If you think it'll help somebody, please share, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the next video. Thank you. Thank you for watching. You can find all episodes of Igniting Change, Finding Your Fire at ayurvedichealingcenter.com. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and share your comments.